Hi everyone, so this is a video on how to complete the square for quadratics. So completing the square gets us from a form of y equals to ax squared plus bx plus c into the form of y equals to x minus h squared, ax minus h squared plus k. For example, we could have x squared plus 4x plus 3. And if we complete the square on this, we actually get x plus 2 squared minus 1. This is useful because the completed square form is also known as turning point form. And as the name suggests, this gives us the turning point of a parabola, which is h, k. So that's the purpose of learning how to complete the square, and it's critical for a lot of tasks that you're going to complete in methods 1, 2, or 3, 4. So let's start with a basic example. Let's start with example 1. Let's complete the square for y equals to x squared plus 4x plus 3. Now, this method that I'm going to teach is more like a formula. So once you learn the process and become comfortable with it, it's just about repeating it for every single question. So we're going to rewrite it to start off with. Now we're going to write the equation in the form that we desire, which is a bracket x, leave some space, and put a squared on it. Okay, so that form resembles the form that we're looking for over here in the top right. From there, we're going to halve the middle number. We're going to divide the middle number by 2. So we're going to halve it. So half of positive 4 becomes positive 2. Then we're going to get that new number that we got, and we're going to square it. So that becomes 2 squared, which is 4. Once you've squared it, add a minus to it. Add a minus. Okay? So no matter what the number is, add a minus to it. And the last step is we're just going to drop that plus 3 down. And drop this plus 3 down. Drop the plus 3. And we're pretty much done. Once we have this, then it's just about simplifying this to become x plus 2 squared. Negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. And we've completed the square for x squared plus 4x plus 3. Let me do a negative example as well. Example 2. Let's complete the square for y equals to negative x squared minus 6x plus 5. Again, we're going to rewrite this as x squared minus 6x plus 5. And we're going to add in our bracket here to start off with. Once we have this, we're going to divide negative 6 by 2. And that becomes negative 3. We're going to square negative 3. That becomes 9. And no matter what the number is, always add a minus. Add a minus. And then we're going to drop the plus 5 down. Plus 5. Drop. So remember, the order is divide by 2, square it, add a minus, and then drop the 5 down. Once we have that, and we have x minus 3 squared minus 4. Second example done. Now let's move on to some more complicated examples. So example 3, what if we have a number at the front? So let's say we have to complete the square for y equals to 2x squared plus 8x minus 10. Whenever we have a number at the front, so whenever we have like an ax squared, that whether that be a 2, a negative 2, or a 3, we have to factorize that number out. So to start off with, we're going to factorize 2 out of the equation. So it's x squared plus 4x minus 5. Once we factorize that number out, what I want you guys to do is to pretend like that 2 and the outside bracket doesn't exist in our equation. It's not going to affect the way that we complete the square. So what I like to do is just write the bracket outside first, and now focus on the inside only. So we have to complete the square on x squared plus 4x minus 5. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our bracket in, square it, divide this by 2, so we get plus 2, square it, so we get 4, add the negative, and then drop the negative 5. So then we have, put the outside bracket first, x plus 2 squared minus 9. Now here's the part that most students miss out on. The purpose of writing those two outside brackets at the start was now that when we're done, we have to multiply both the x plus 2 squared and the negative 9 by 2. So we're expanding this outer bracket out. And when we expand it out, we get y equals to 2 x plus 2 squared. 2 times negative 9 gets me negative 18. And that's our final answer. Example 4. What if we have a fraction? For example, let's say we have to complete the square for y equals to x squared minus 5x plus 3. Again, let's rewrite this out. We're going to write in our standard form here. From there, we're going to divide negative 5 by 2. Now, negative 5 isn't divisible by 2, but we can write this as an improper fraction. Okay. So when we write this as an improper fraction, we get negative 5 over 2. So we're going to halve it. Then we're going to square negative 5 on 2, which becomes 25 over 4. And remember, add a negative on it. And then we're going to drop the plus 3 down. From there, all we have to do is simplify this expression. So negative 25 on 4, we're going to make a common denominator of 4. To do that, we need to multiply this fraction by 4 over 4. That will get us plus 12 over 4. So then this is x minus 5 over 2 squared minus 13 over 4. Okay. Now we're going to do one last example. This is pretty much as hard as it will get in terms of numbers. So let's do example 5. Oops. Example 5. Let's say we have to complete the square for y equals to 3x squared plus, let's take 5x minus 4. So just by looking at this, you can see that all the numbers are quite odd. So we're going to, and none of them are equally divisible. But our principles that we learnt before still stand. The first thing we have to do is factorize that number out at the front. We can see that the first number is 3x squared. We need to factorize 3 out. When we factorize 3 out, we get x squared. As neither of these numbers are divisible by 3, we need to write them under denominator of 3. 4 over 3. Once we have this, then we're going to ignore the outer bracket again and focus on the inside. We're going to write x bracket squared. Now we're going to divide 5 on 3 by 2. Now as a trick, dividing a fraction by 2 is the same as doubling the denominator. So dividing a fraction by 2 is the same as doubling the denominator. So 5 on 3 becomes plus 5 on 6. Then we're going to square it. That becomes minus always 25 on 36 minus 4 on 3. Once we have this, it's just a matter of simplifying those two numbers on the outside. So that's minus 25 on 36. 4 on 3. To get a denominator of 36, we need to multiply this by 12 over 12. So this will be negative 48 on 36. I'm going to continue to simplify. So that's 3 bracket bracket x plus 5 on 6 squared. Now we need to do negative 25 minus 48. A quick way to do that is negative 20 minus 40, which gets you negative 60. And then negative 5 minus 8, which is negative 13. So then when you get those two numbers together, you get negative 73 over 36. I'll just make this one shorter. Now for our final step, this is when we just have to expand that 3 out. So I'm going to put the 3 into here and the 3 into here. Now the first part is straightforward, x plus 5 on 6 squared. Now in order to avoid doing 3 times 73, what we're going to do is cancel that 3 with the 36. I'll just write that here as well. So 3 times 73 on 36. That's the same as cancelling that 3 and becoming a 12. So that's going to be minus 73 on 12. And that's our final answer. So that is how you complete the square. Just to recap briefly, the process again to complete the square is to write it in the correct form. Then we're going to halve the number, so divide 4 by 2. We're going to square the 2 to become a 4, add a minus to it, and then drop that 3 or whatever number it is down, and we have our final answer after we simplify. So I hope you find this useful. Please let me know if there's any questions. In future videos, we can go through how to sketch these graphs and how to solve for x-intercepts, etc.